Welcome, welcome. Belinda Sandor here from the VA Connection with Brenda. Welcome, Brenda. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, Brenda is a current student in VA school. She joined our last group, and we're about halfway through, we figured out today. So tell me, when you were thinking about VA school, I remember it seemed to me like it was a big decision for you, and it was like an emotional decision. Like, am I ready to do this? I remember talking to you about it.
Right.
So tell me a little bit about that, about what you were thinking about, what made you decide to jump in. Um, yeah, what happened for you?
Well, I I turned 50 2 days before I enrolled.
That'll do it.
That was probably the biggest jolt. Um, in all seriousness, I had looked at VA schools before, and I didn't trust them. They didn't feel right to me. Um, and I actually found your group not too long before I joined the VA school, and I didn't even know about the VA school. We had the kickstart that week, and then towards the end of the kickstart, I saw the school, and I think I'd been in the group, the VA connection, only about 2 weeks, not even. But already there was such a tremendous difference in how the environment was, and the fact that you did the kickstart and it was free and it was usable, applicable information that you could actually use. I almost was like, well, do I need VA school, or should I just hang out for these kickstarts? Because the information is so valuable and makes sense, and you can use to real life situation. It's not, there's nothing vague about what you provide. um, but I really felt like that was just a really good sign to what would come with VA school. And when I saw that there was one and it was by you, I just did it. In fact, I didn't talk to my husband about it till after I already took from the savings and paid. It's just
Yeah, sorry, honey.
he was just like, "Are we going to be able to eat?" And I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, I'm gonna feed us.
Okay.
Good.
But it was emotional because there was a lot of things going on, like everybody trying to get through the pandemic and navigate such extreme changes in our lives, personally and professionally. Um, I've been working with people for years, with intellectual disabilities. I had my own agency for many years, almost 20, and I shut down back in 2018. And but I still have three of my guys that I work independently, but I've been with them for going on 26 years. I've literally grown up with them, and they're senior citizens now. I have one that's 60 and one that's going to be 70. And the reality is that with their abilities and with their disabilities, there's going to be a time where I'm no longer enough to work with them, to take care of them. And I need to have something in place because we're not wealthy. so
Right.
so there has to be something. And honestly, I haven't worked for anybody else in almost 20 years. And the thought of going to work for someone else now at the age of 50 just made me cringe. And so,
Yeah.
just I can't do it. And of course there's always someone to answer to and to work with, but it's different when you own your own business, how you have to answer and what you have to do versus when you actually go to a 9 to 5 or whatever the shift may be, but you have a boss that's directly over you looking at what you do. It's just a very different environment. It's a different life.
Yeah, it really is. And I know a lot of people who were in the Kickstart Challenge this time. I noticed it. Each group has a personality, and a lot of people are asking questions about, like, and finally the light bulb went off in my head a couple of days ago. I'm like, oh, this is what they're talking about. Because I'm so far removed from having someone watch me work that I forgot that people get watched while they work. And they do, right? And the boss is like, well, what about this? And what about that? And when are you going to do this? And how long were you, and noticing when you come back from lunch, if you're 5 minutes late, or what time you leave, or what time you get there. And there is none of that.
Right.
You can take 2 hours in the middle of the day and, go swimming, like whatever you want to do. You just have to make sure that you meet your deadlines.
Right.
That's really as simple as it is.
Right.
And I think it's hard for some people to wrap their brain around that because that's so different from a corporate environment or even a retail environment or, anything where you're in person.
Right.
It's really different. Yeah. So I can appreciate that you didn't want to go back after all those years. Yeah.
It really, really makes me cringe the thought of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be a learning curve because I would really have to learn to take orders.
Right. Right. I know. So tell me, tell me a little bit about study hall. You're always there. I love that. So study hall is when we get together for an hour twice a week, and we talk about all kinds of things, wins and chicken chatter, and all kinds of things. So tell me why you keep showing up. Like, what is it about that you love and that you get from it that it's become such a part of your life?
I love study hall so much. I wish it was 5 days a week. I really do, because that connection to our group, it's how the support has been cultivated within our term of school, our classmates, if you will. It's how we've gotten to know each other since we're all in different places. So we're learning about you. You've been so free and forthcoming, that when you talk to us, even though you're the one with most of the experience, and the success, I mean, or you couldn't even be where you are, but you're so free with it, and you don't talk down to us. You're not condescending. You talk to us in a relatable way, and you make us. I shouldn't say us. I should talk for myself, but I know everybody in that study hall with me, and I know they feel this way. You make us all feel very important. You know us by name. You, beyond the social aspect and the cultivated support, which is so vital and important, because after that study hall, we're talking to each other. If we need help, we're texting each other or messaging each other or emailing each other, and we're getting on Zoom meetings with just the two of us, or go into that messenger group that you have where you can create, and we're actually working together. So it doesn't just stop there. And that's where we all come together. It gives us the value of the opportunity to ask our questions. It gives us the opportunity to learn from each other and hear what each other is doing, their experiences. I've learned about software I've never even heard of before, programs, which has put me in my place. But it's given me something to explore, and it's almost something that's hard to articulate, because there's a rhythm when you go to study hall. There is a deep connection when you go to study hall. I'm going to sound cheesy, but it's kind of like a family. It's like a family of us that come together, that are there routinely, and there's comfort and there's help, and you just don't feel alone. You don't feel like you're floundering. And if you do feel like you're floundering, it's okay, because you have someone supporting you to help you through it. And that, to me, is extremely valuable, especially since the environment that has been cultivated is a supportive environment in nature, not a cutthroat, not a competition, not a she's further than he is, and that type of thing. We're happy for each other's wins, and we're not judgmental of each other's not wins,
Yeah.
and that goes a long way, because it's scary going into a new career. Some of us have been doing it for years already, and some of us are brand new. I started maybe about a year before school, and I really, you put it into words, you articulated it. I was table setting. That's all I was doing. And I was stuck there because I was terrified. And I don't think I'm the only one who's terrified. And knowing that and helping each other through it, that to me is just as valuable as the actual strategies that you provide us with the modules, the forms, the templates, um, the the verbal templates that you give us for your experience. Um, it's everything together. You've given us literally the whole picture of what we need, and in a way that we can apply it. And we're at all different levels of ability, but it speaks to all of us. We're all able to apply it. I'm coming in brand new to VA, and I can follow it just like the people that have been doing it for 30 years. And I personally very much appreciate that. And that study hall brings us all together with that. It brings it all together. It's that connection.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love study hall. I have to tell you, if you guys had enough questions, I would do it 5 days a week because
I'm going to start asking you a lot more now.
well, how it worked was when, the first time we did VA school, there was one study hall for an hour. And then I realized, and this is the great part about being, being able to pivot. And I said, oh yeah, that's not going to work. There are people all over the world and they're asleep or they're at work. And so people spoke up and said, oh yeah, this isn't working. This isn't working. And I was like, okay, no problem. So then what we did was we went from 1 hour we went to 2 hour and a halves. And then we realized that was too much. So, as adjustments need to be made for each individual class and each group. And now we're at, 2 hours once a week. But I've told everyone, if it gets to the point where we are running out of time routinely, we'll just put another hour in. That'd be great. It's like my favorite part of the week. We have it tonight, in an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm ready. You guys have asked some good questions, and I'm ready to roll.
It is mine too. It's really what brings it all together, full circle, and not just for the whole school, but just on a weekly or every few days basis. It also alleviates some of the panic that occasionally I feel, or the anxiety, because it's not a whole week that I have to wait to touch base, and it's just that sense of, you're not isolated. You're not alone. We're going to meet. We're there. And that's a big deal.
That's awesome. So I have one more question for you. And that is, so when you sign up for VA school and you saw the modules and you saw the this and you saw the that, and you knew what you're going to get, what was the thing that surprised you the most that you thought, oh, I had no idea that was going to happen, or I was going to learn that? What do you think was the big thing?
It still surprises me. There's two of them. One that it's so complete. I still shake my head every time I look at stuff. You literally took us through the alphabet and didn't miss a step. You literally took us from A to Z and you did not miss a letter. And I'm just amazed. Because you just didn't leave anything to chance. It's just there. And it just blows me away every time I go and look at these modules, because a lot of it I wouldn't have known, or I wouldn't have even thought of, but it's total sense. And it's obviously something I'm going to run into, but I would have never thought it would be included in the curriculum. And then the other thing is, that you give so freely. And when I say that, when I remember when we first started school and we were learning you have to know what to say and then stop talking when you're describing what you do for a living when someone asks you. So yes, I know the famous stop talking. I still want one that says stop eating.
I saw you post that. I laughed out loud. That's hysterical.
But what I love about it was you said, even with the newsletter templates and the other thing, I'm using the same thing, and it's okay for you to use the same thing. It's not going to be an issue that you're copying or that you. I want you to get started. I want you to feel comfortable. You were giving. You're giving, and you would think. I think. I know I was trained to think, oh, you don't want to give away too much because it gets stolen and somehow it gets taken from you, and then you lose money or you lose whatever. When in reality, the more you give, I think the more comes back to you. And when you turned us on to Michael Katz, I actually recently started watching his videos, and I follow him now on LinkedIn. And one of the things that he says, that because you often bring him up, and I can see why, is one of the things he says is, you think to be professional and business minded, everything has to be super formal. There can't be a little bit of chatter and how you doing and being personal. But it's just the opposite. Part of the business, the biggest part of the business of being a VA, is we're going to be dealing with people. And if we can't connect to you as a person, I think that's more than the skills. Because if somebody trusts you, they like you, they know that you're going to be upfront, they're going to find something for you to do. They're going to give you their business and work with you. And it just makes it a much more pleasant experience overall. And the fact that you can be a little bit casual and you can bring personality into everything. And that's what you do. You give of yourself, of your experiences. And when you talk to us, you're giving us a whole picture because you're free with what you tell us and the information that you provide. Whereas other schools that I've looked into and other groups, which I quit all of them once I found the VA connection, I had been in, it was more of them selling, and taking. There wasn't anything that I could actually take and use. And I always felt like everything was ambiguous. They'll have a little training. And I think you said this recently. I had the experience too, where I left this supposed training feeling like, when did the training start, or when is it going to start?
Yeah.
I don't feel like I walked away with anything that actually relates to me. And
Yeah.
the fact that you allow yourself to be relatable and you're honest, and I think that's why we all love you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I did say that. I used to go to these business seminars, when I had a job, my boss would pay for them. And at 4 o'clock, I would be thinking, we're just going to lunch, right? Because there's a lot more, I have more questions. And so one of the things that I love about having the VA connection is I get to decide how much to give. And so I can give as much as I can. And so I appreciate that you notice that, and you see that as a difference, because
it's a huge difference. You are generous. You're generous with yourself. You're generous with the information that you give us. And what shows through is that you give the genuine feeling that you actually want us to succeed, that you actually are trying to help. You're not doing this to benefit you directly. This is, I think, your biggest benefit, if I dare say, is that you just feel good giving to others and helping other people. And that's what comes across. And it comes across in everything you do, from the lessons, the strategies, the methodologies, the study hall, the module, everything that's about the school and the VA connection itself, the kickstarts. You're very generous. You're very generous in a whole way, and it comes across. It's easy to see it, and it makes me feel very good and want to be part of it, and it makes the information applicable, and it makes me, I feel lost sometimes with software and the technical stuff, but I never feel lost in school, if that makes sense.
Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing yourself. Really, I feel like you really shared your heart with everyone, and you exposed yourself in a way. And in a good way, and showed us who you are, and by doing that, showed a special part of VA school, because you are a special part of VA school. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for this and for sharing. And I'll see you in an hour in study hall.
That's why I made this appointment.
All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you.